normal range of serotonin is enormous, so that you could have 3 or 4 or 5 times as much serotonin as I do in my brain. And so within this enormous variability, there are so many other factors going on. It's such a simple way to say serotonin levels equal health, equal depression, equal happiness, whatever. It's a multi-complex system that's going on in the brain, and also the brain can learn to adapt to changes and has multiple routes of getting things done. So I would say that people need to be aware that there is some potential that MDMA might affect balances of neurotransmitter levels, but the more graphic images that have been shown on MTV and Oprah just did a show where she showed a brain scan of an MDMA user that had holes in the brain. That was a graphically manipulated, completely fraudulent image where it was astonishing that such a thing would be promulgated by Oprah, by MTV.
I was surprised. I saw that.
Yeah, well, what that image is called a SPECT scan, single photon emission computerized tomography, that is radioactively labeled compounds that then can bond to glucose, and what you see is the energy consumption in the brain, and you can track blood flow. And so those are a pattern of blood flow in the brain. And certain areas have more flow, certain areas have lesser flow. And that depends a lot on what you're thinking about. If you're listening to music, there are certain music-activated parts of your brain. If you're reading, doing math, if you're listening to poetry, if you're emotionally involved. And what you do then is you translate the relative concentrations of blood flow throughout your brain into a mathematical model, and then you translate that into colors or shades of gray, black and white, that show areas of greater flow, areas of lesser flow. And so what the holes in the brain image showed was that areas of lesser flow were set, like the contrast on your TV, to demonstrate, to look like holes. They were turned into emptiness. So everything that was below a mathematical cutoff on that image was turned into a hole. And the areas above it were shades of gray. And so what they tried to claim then is that MDMA caused these holes in the brain, when actually the brain was intact, and MDMA does not kill brain cells. No matter how high the dose, the cells that produce serotonin do not die at all. What has happened is that there's a cell that branches out with axons throughout the brain, and the terminals of those axons, that's what degenerates under large exposure to large amounts of MDMA. So there's nerve terminal degeneration, but the axon, the cell body itself, does not die. So there are really no holes. The brain is solid, and it's just
so the PET scan.
Okay, that's SPECT scan. Okay, PET scan is what you can monitor for these uptake sites.
Okay.
All right. So there's just been an article right now. We should say that it's the 20th of April, 2002. There was just an article several days ago in a magazine called The New Scientist that talked about how the research with neurotoxicity has been exaggerated. It's a pattern throughout history where governments that criminalize drugs soon exaggerate their risks and attempt to deny their benefits. So the PET scan research is also called into question. There's such an enormous variability. So I would say that people should be aware of it. My feeling is that the neurotoxicity issue, if we had not had these brain scan techniques and other techniques, that we wouldn't have noticed it, that there is no real significance, I don't believe, to the neurotoxicity concerns. It's not a big risk. It's not even a small risk of turning into functional consequences from MDMA. I think that there's much better things to worry about in terms of MDMA, such as overheating. Some people do die from overheating, and not inadequate fluid replacement. So you hear every once in a while tragic cases of young people at raves or dances that take MDMA and die, and that's, I think, really of concern. The other issue is of people who have emotional experiences that they are not prepared for, that they're looking just for fun, and a lot of people report MDMA helps them to deal with difficult emotions, and sometimes under the influence of MDMA people will remember past trauma, sexual abuse, painful experiences, grief over death of a loved one. And these experiences, because people are strengthened in their ability to handle difficult emotions, a lot of times people will have the emergence of this opportunity to process these difficult emotions. But if you're out with a group of friends just to have fun, you tend to suppress the painful, difficult emotions. And I think that can make them worse. And so I think that is a danger. There's a small number of people who have heard the warnings about don't overheat, drink a lot of water, and then they drink gallons and gallons of water and die from water intoxication. That's happened a few times. But the neurotoxicity has been linked to virtually nothing in the realm of functional consequences, even in the animals.
After working all the day, a moment comes when I really want to play and have some fun. Need a little relaxation to chill us out. Need a little recreation. There can be no doubt. I just wanna get high. I wanna fly into the sky. I just wanna let go. I want you to know, love you so. I just wanna get high. I wanna fly into the sky. I just wanna let go. Want you to know, love you so.
Do you think I can be the one who can wait till fireworks come? Do you think we can have some fun, get back where we begun? Do you think it'll be alright? Do you think it'll be tonight? Do you really wanna let it go? Find out what we both know. Am I really the lucky one? Be there when your kingdom come. We can sizzle till we're hot, give it everything we got.